This computer, yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to Dr. Sam's Looneybin 102.5 FM. Guess who we have? Sammy Lee, founder. You're the founder, correct, of Red Rain?
I'm one of them, but yes, that's correct.
Ah. Now, friends, for those, I'm going to start the interview off this way. For those of you on video, make sure you've seen this man a million times. You just don't know it. And for those of you on radio, you're going to have to look a little more closely, but it's fine. I don't know how much my computer will pick it up, but behind me, always behind me. Sorry, Jason. Red Rain and the man's autograph from the CD at the show. Honored to have you in Dr. Sam's Looneybin, from one Sam to another.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for having us, and thanks for carrying the torch with the old EP.
Oh, yes. Rocky, why don't you tell us a little bit about High Vol Fest, since I also did an article about that in, as you can find it on Blasting News.
Sure. So we're really good friends with Classic Metal Show has been has been most helpful in getting the band to where we are today. Neely and Chris are very important to the Red Rain band. I got a call from them that says, "Hey, this High Voltage Fest was going on in Ohio, and there may be a slot for us. Would you be interested?" And we absolutely were. There were some great bands on there, and we were very excited to be a part of it, and very excited to meet a lot of new people, and yourself included. I believe we met at the show.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I know one of the bands there had I think it was, they also had an electronic side project. It was they had Lola Montez. Friends, if you ever get a chance to check out anything that Red Rain does live, do not miss the chance to do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We
All right.
enjoy playing live.
I noticed when we got this, despite the name of the show, which is Dr. Sam's Looneybin, there is a serious side to all of this. And Here I Am, the video,
Yes.
it sort of has a mental health intro. The song itself, I had written down when I listened to it, touch of pop with a driving low end, a very classic hard rock song. But the video itself, friends, I'm going to describe this. If you've ever seen, well, I guess In Excess for most people would know, where they have the cards and they're matching the lyrics. These people are holding cards with negative or self-loathing messages in many cases towards themselves, and it sort of shines light on that problem. Give us a little bit of insight into that.
Sure. Bubba, the lead singer, Bubba McMichael, writes all the lyrics, and wrote this song. Just to give you a little backdrop, the album itself was written through COVID. So Here I Am is one of the songs that Bubba had sort of written due to all the news that we've heard, and also just a common problem. I say common problem. I've never been in this situation, but suicide, PTSD. So really where he got the idea from was when COVID hit and everybody was sort of isolated, mental health really was at the forefront of everything. So the song and the message is, listen, everybody's got a struggle. Everybody goes through something. And so if you do, the option is not really to end it all. It's to maybe reach out to a friend, because I think there's always somebody that's willing to help. And that's really what the message is about. If you're in need of a friend, just reach out. Now, that's easier for us to say because I'm not walking in somebody's shoes. We just hope that people take the message and run with it instead of using option B, which we all know what that is.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So
the song on the new one, No Peace, No Love, very Sabbath sounding, but since I had the pleasure of talking to the drummer, I had heard Bill Ward from Black Sabbath. He said sometimes it's, I'm paraphrasing here, but that it's more important to be a percussionist than it ever is to be a drummer. And in terms of that, the way he approached things, not always necessarily in the pocket, but real busy and almost tribal. This
Right.
song reminded me of that. And did you plan on that kind of feel, or how did it come to be?
Uh, that's a funny kind of quote, but from Bill Ward. But percussionist for me is stretching it. I'm just a drummer. I just whatever's in front of me, I'm hitting. It's that kind of mentality. The song was written. Bubba wrote it. David Ivory, who was our producer, came in and added these parts to it. The double bass licks, during the verse was something that sort of kind of graduated to that as the song was being melded into. It's a great song. It's only a 2 minute and 40-minute song, I think it is. But the message on that one is very simple. Happy wife, happy life, intimately.
And friends, I can't stress it enough. You're gonna want to take that one little section and put it in loop. Trust me here at the Looneybin.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty cool. It's a good tune. It really is.
Friends, if you want to check out No Peace, No Love, trust me, Red Rain, do not miss any of these that I've written down here. But we're going through the CD kind of quickly, but you guys are
Sure.
you guys want to give it some time. The Truth, I had real spacey guitar effect into a really hard stomp groove. How
Yeah.
did you guys get that guitar effect?
That was David. David helped the guys get that. I will tell you, um, to be honest with you, I went up and did my parts, and then the guys kind of went back and finished yours. I was not in the room when they did that. However, if you listen to it, it's got a very Boston sound to it because that's the equipment they use. They use the same Boston sound and equipment on that song. It's really
Aha.
cool. If you listen to it, in the lead, listen to the lead, and it's like Boston. It's got that Boston flair, Boston sound to it. It's
I'm,
really cool.
I'm going to listen to that with fresh ears now.
Yeah, go back and listen to the lead. Yeah, really cool. Great song though. Another great song that to be honest, we had released 3 singles. The two you've already talked about, we released Don't Look Back. The Truth was in communication to maybe be one of the singles. Got a little lost in there, but I don't know. It's one of our favorites to play. It's just a fun song.
Maybe you'll be able to make a live video of it and sort of sneak it in as a single that way.
We might, I don't know. We're working on we're working on that. So we'll see what happens.
As you can tell, I keep mentioning it, friends, because I have had the pleasure of seeing them live. Bury Me Up to My Eyes, a deeper groove, a slightly less pop driven, and you can almost see the hair flips for the guitar solo. But it has a very dark bridge and sort of a perfect solo in the way that the notes are augmented. I wrote in here that some of the solos are almost like, I don't want to say little songs in themselves, but you guys have a build up for it where you just know it's coming. And
Right, right.
that happens wonderfully on a lot of the songs.
So that's a little bit of a heavier song that's on the album, which kind of goes back to sort of the EP, like with the title track "Red Rain," which is pretty heavy, pretty driven. Um, "Bury Me" again is another one of those COVID songs that Bubba had written, where it's a person now viewing life through a mask because we all had to wear masks.
Uh,
So the original title was called "Bury Me Up to My Eyes," and so that's why the song. But we obviously for purposes of everything else, it's called "Bury Me." But yeah, it's a
okay,
little.
okay. I'm sorry. I was sent the promo and they actually still had the old name on it.
Oh, did it really? Oh, does it
Well,
have "Bury Me Up to Us"? I thought it was just "Bury Me." I'm sorry. Maybe it does have it on there.
I-
I don't know. I'd have to. I don't have a CD in here. I'd have to look and see. I thought we just did "Bury Me." I could be wrong. So, but it is called "Bury Me Up to My Eyes."
And that is that, by the way, that could be like the best name. Like when you think metal, you've got all these bands out there. They're like painting their faces black and trying to name themselves after, the death and obituary. And a Red Rain is like, bury me up to my eyes. And they're all like, oh,
Yeah.
why didn't I think of that?
And people are like, "Oh man, that's great. What is this? Heavy metal and stuff." It's like, nah, you're wearing a mask and you're. It's like sometimes when I explain this, it's like, well, maybe it's not that cool. I don't know, but it's a really good song. Driven. It's just a driving song.
It is one of the most clever plays on words ever, and can't believe I hadn't caught that. That is just great.
Yeah. So
What was working with David Ivory like? By that I know, and for those of you that don't know, Hailstorm's a producer. Was he one of the producers that are sort of, you come in and he makes sure what you're doing sounds right? Does he have a Rick Rubin approach where you do 57 takes and he picks one? How does he do it?
so that's a good question. David is not like that. So David has done both our I'd say records, for lack of a better term, because first one was an EP. But David is so great to work with. So the great thing about David is we come in with the idea. He doesn't take the idea and change it. He takes the idea and I don't want to say makes it better, but he does make it better, but it makes it flow. So, we have the parts, but he never changes our idea and he never changes sort of the meaning of the song. It's cutting a part here or adding a part here, or let's not do this on the bridge, let's do this here, or the verse needs this or the chorus needs this. And so it's adding to make the song better. But no, he's great to work with. And the first time, when you work with somebody like that, it's a little intimidating, but we have such a great relationship with David. I talk to David all the time, and the second album just went really smooth, and he sees a vision that we don't, obviously. And if you're in the business and you play music, you need somebody that is outside of the band, because every band thinks everything they do is great, right? We all just think that. And so and then you go to a producer like David and you realize, hey, not everything's great, everything's good, and then he makes it great. So very, very excited, and every day I'm excited and proud that we've always worked with David.
I when I saw it, I'm like, wow, that's the perfect producer. Because if you listen to Hailstorm, there's times when they're sort of mainstream rock sounding, not in a bad way. And then
Right.
other times they'll cover Judas Priest's Dissident Aggressor. And I mean, it's like in your face. And he captures all of those sounds. And I think that comes through on your CD too.
I don't want to speak for David. I don't think David has produced Hailstorm lately. I don't know the answer to that. I'm pretty sure he hasn't, but that would be something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think David was really early on, but again, I don't want to speak out of tune here, and I don't want to talk for David
Well,
either.
one
But
thing's for sure, then he definitely had a put a good impression on them, because you can tell they've stuck with that same philosophy that you're talking about, because they do have
right,
a very diverse sound like you guys do.
yeah, and he's great at that, and it's funny too because I see a vision. Listen, I do the business part of the band, and I'm a drummer. That's it. I don't know much about guitars. I don't know much about any other instrument, and so I know what I like and what I hear. And sometimes, and again, that's just me. And I'll go to him saying, "Hey, I don't," and he's basically like, I got this," which is great because, um, we work hand in hand. But I'm not going to go against a guy like David Ivory. If he said it sounds good, it sounds good. I did, however, go against him once, which was on the very first EP in Red Rain, the title track Red Rain. And again, while Bubba was doing vocals, I had to be home due to a family thing, and so David would send me the tracks at night, and David sent me the cut for Red Rain, this cut that was different than we normally did, and I just was like, no way. It had, to me, it had kind of cut down on the attitude, and so that was the only time really that we sort of were like, okay, let's figure out something else. But no, we really go by David's his suggestions, and it works for us.
That it certainly does.
I think if you go into a studio with a producer and you're going to try to run roughshod the producer, you're 50% losing the battle as is. So that's my thought.
Very wise lesson for everyone listening. Darkness of Pain has the line, "I live in tomorrow's yesterday." And that's like my favorite. I think it might be the favorite line, at least that I jumped out at me when I listened to it. Who
Right.
does the lyrics, and can you walk us through that process? I also want to mention, I wrote the song has a solo that goes into what I call a dark minor. A lot of the solos are like little songs in themselves. I mentioned that earlier because the song Yesterday does it as well. It's
Right.
almost as if the song goes dark, the lights go low, and you can feel the solo coming as much as you can hear it.
Right. So Bubba does all the writing of the lyrics. Um, and I'd say when I say 99.9%, somebody may have a suggestion, or David once again says, let's change this word, let's change this. But Bubba's the songwriter. Stevie and Larry, Stevie's our lead guitar player, backup vocals, Larry's our bass player. When we come at Bubba will normally come in with an idea and then we kind of run with the idea. But Bubba has the know it all to where he wants to go with it. Now that doesn't always work, and that's why David is so important. But as far as the song goes, it's a little darker, little deeper. Again, I hate to keep saying this. This was all written through COVID, so everything's a little darker than say the first album. But another great song, great tune. That one's a little longer. That one's I think a 4 minute and that may be even close to 5 minutes, but it's a yeah, it's another killer song. Now the best line on the album though is in Yesterday. You broke my heart with your goddamn lies. Now see, to me, that's the best line on the album.
That there, you could almost put it on, you could put it on my epitaph.
Yeah,
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 everybody relates to that. You can't argue with that in the least, particularly
right.
here.
And when he sings it, every time he sings it, I don't know why I get these little chills. It's just the way Bubba sings it. It's like he growls it out, and it's like, man, that is a powerful line.
Yes, and I think if you have something going on, I just pick a name out of the air, Eminem. When something like that comes up, it's like yawn. But when it's on a CD that it comes out of nowhere like that, the words actually have meaning other than just seeing how many vulgarities you can string together. It has a
Right.
purpose, it has a meaning in that, and it does hit you when it comes in.
Yeah, and he doesn't. It's funny. He doesn't. There's not a lot of vulgarity in our
No,
songs. Now, look, and that's. I don't know if that's on purpose or that just he just doesn't write like that.
it makes it stand out when it's used. It's perfect.
Right, right. I remember. I don't remember what comedian it was. Maybe it was maybe Seinfeld or something that said, to throw out those words, to throw them out because it's funny. It's not funny, but to throw them in context, it's funny.
Yes.
And the same with music. If you're just going to sit there and just curse and all to think, I don't know, people write the way they write. I love there's songs out there that I hear that got all kinds of words in them and they're great songs, but that's just not how he writes.
Thankfully so, because it fits
Yeah.
perfect. All right,
Thank you.
my famous last question. Is there ever been you probably do a million interviews, you said you handle the band business. Is there ever a question that you weren't asked or anything that you would like to say to everyone and you're like, huh, I can't believe that nobody's ever asked about that, or I've always wanted to say that. Anything at all?
Boy, that's now see that's that question right there. That's it. That's the toughest question of all. No, not really. I mean, I have been fortunate enough that the people that have been nice enough to interview us and let us share our music and our vision have asked some really great questions. I tend to let the interviewer ask me what they want. I'm honest. I'll tell you anything you want to know, but no, not really. The only thing I tell people, and I always end my interview with this is, look, there's so much new music out there. There's so much good rock and roll. There's so much good heavy metal. There's, all kinds of it. It's not on mainstream radio, and you're going to have to go find it, but go find it because there's some great bands out there. We think we're one of them, obviously, but all we ask is for somebody to give us a chance. Just take a chance and listen. You may not like it, and that's cool, but don't, just don't dismiss what's going on because again, there's some great bands, and you don't want to miss out because look, I love all the old bands too. I love the Cruise. I love the Poisons. I'm a Van Halen. I'm an old Van Halen fan, David Lee Roth. But I love 70s rock, Slade, and and then I love quite, all that. But how many times can we continue to hear that over and over again?
Eh,
Um, and I love those bands, and and so, but there is so much new music out there. So I just tell people, please go look for it and go listen to it. And there's a lot of internet radio stations playing it. So
thank you. And you're on one of them. We're
yeah, thank you.
it's a community station as well, but so it does have it is going to be over the air. But yes, a lot of people are
Oh,
going
cool, thank you.
to video. Please give us all your websites, how to get a hold of you, how to contact you, all of it.
Yeah. So I did want to mention one thing we didn't talk about, if you don't mind. I did want to
Oh,
mention
I
one.
know. I absolutely want you to. That's why I always do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
The last thing is you forgot one of the songs that is on the album that people may or may not know. But we had the title track is "Don't Look Back," and we have a special guitarist that played on that, which was George Lynch, and we're very excited about that song as well. So if you like George Lynch and you like Dokken and Lynch Mob and every other project you've been in, come listen to that track as well. That was the first single we released. So I wanted to mention that because when you get George Lynch on your album, you got to brag about it a little bit.
And I want to mention, I don't know if regular listeners know this. George Lynch can do anything. He did an industrial band called The Banishment.
Okay.
And I have been laying on the song Got What You Wanted. I'm probably going to pick it for single of the year. Hint, hint, listeners. I just love the song. And yeah, he's literally, I don't even didn't ask about that. Duh. He is
Yeah.
literally, he can do anything in the world, that man. And
Oh, it's funny. It's funny too because we sent him the track and he was basically like, "What do you want me to do?" And we had this community email, and I just said, "Look, we really got him for just the solo." But then I just said, "Hey, you've been in this business long enough. Do what you want." And then if you've heard the track, he dances all in there, which is great. We got what we wanted. We got the old Doc, and we feel George Lynch, which is what people really, which is what they hear. So uh,
did
couldn't
you
have gone
know
any
that
better.
the man who played guitar on Got What You Wanted by The Banishment made sure that Sammy Lee got what he wanted?
That was great. Yeah, it did. He was
Yes.
he was so gracious. So it was great.
Working with him, and when he asks what you want, it reminds me. I saw an interview with David Grohl. He was talking about Probot, which, for those of you who don't know, was it's him with different artists. He has Lemmy on there. He has a whole bunch
Right.
of people, and one of them was King Diamond. And King Diamond asked David Grohl. He says, "Well, what is it you want me to do?" He says, "Well, just do you." He goes, "What am I going to say to King Diamond? You didn't sing that note high enough."
Right, right, right. What are we going to tell George, So, yeah, we were very excited. So I just wanted to throw that out. But to answer the last question that you asked me was we are on the internet under redrainband.com, and it's REIGN, not RAIN. So it's REDREIGN, Red Rain Band. We're on Facebook as Red Rain Band, Instagram, Red Rain Band. So if you just look up Red Rain Band, and if you Google us, there's a lot of live videos. There's the three videos we just released for Don't Look Back, Here I Am, and No Peace, No Love. So again, all we ask is just take a listen. You'll either like it or you don't, but at least you tried something.
Guys, you're gonna like it. Hey, now I gotta ask you that everybody asks this, I'm sure, but how did you pick the name?
I've been asked that, and I'll be honest, I don't really have a good answer for this. We were just, I think picking a band name is about as in the music world. In the music world,
Yes.
it's as hard as anything. It's as hard as anything. We were throwing about a bunch of names, and you're throwing out those generics like Power X or you know what I'm saying, like a three chord or just anything. You're throwing out, and Bubba had written the song Red Rain. And I don't know, it might have been Larry. I don't remember who. It wasn't me. I know that, but somebody said, "Why don't we just call the band Red Rain?" It's that simple. I mean, really, it was
Better
just
than Portishead, let's face it.
true. But you just
No, I'm
it's.
kidding. I actually
I would love.
I loved it when I first saw it. When I first saw the name, I had thought of the red and the black, the metal. I think Iron Maiden wrote a whole like 10-minute, 20-minute song on it. I was thinking the
Right.
red and black, and so I liked it as soon as I heard it. My mind went to that immediately, so I didn't know if it was a reference.
No, not at all. That's the thing. See, that's it. I mean, listen, everything in music is subjective anyway. We know that, right? So if you ask five people what Red Rain means, they're going to get five different answers. To be honest, it was a song we wrote, and we were like, okay, we're just going to call the band Red Rain. And I wish I had a better, cooler story, but
No,
that's it.
you lucked out when you did that. You got Red Rain. Talk. They
Yeah,
didn't have that luck.
that's true. That's very true. Very true. So
Before we
we're very excited about it. So
Before we jump off, can you say you're listening to 102.5 FM, Dr. Sam's Looney Bin, and anything else you want to say?
102.5,
Yep.
Dr. Sam Looneybin. Thank you for the interview. You have been listening to 102.5 FM, Dr. Sam's Looney. Dr. Sam has been great, and we appreciate all the support you have given us.
Thank you so much. God bless. Have a great time because I know that tour is coming and I want to see it.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks again for helping support the band and spreading the word. And if there's anything you need, you know how to get in touch with me, and I appreciate everything.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care now.
I take us off.